Hey everybody, welcome back to Mr. Doctor Comeback. Let's get this straight. Where I am Mr. Comeback, I have an answer for everything. Hey, what we're doing today is the Great White Throne Judgment is what we're going to be talking about. And so we're going to be looking at Revelations 20 verses 11 on through. And we've already talked about the millennium and all the verses up before that in the last video. That millennium, 1,000 years, and whatever else you want to call it. So here, let's begin with this. Now, here's the picture, though. The idea is the millennium closes out and it finishes up with Satan being released, deceiving the nations. They come against Jerusalem one last time, the camp of the saints. Oh, and that kind of reminds me. Michael Erickson, he brought this up. The camp of the saints. What does all that mean, and everything else? And I know I made the video up there, and I've talked about that. The camp of the saints, of course, is where the saints came back, and that camp there it means barracks. So what armies? What? It's the beloved city we know is Jerusalem. So what barracks? When did the Jerusalem become a barracks for the saints? And that's obviously has nothing to do with 70 AD or any other time form. You can't spiritualize this. It comes from 19 that the armies of heaven were following after. The saints who were resurrected and changed met him in the air as he came back, as we talked about the rapture and the resurrection. And so here they are living and ruling over the nations from Jerusalem. And so Satan is released from his prison. He comes out to deceive the nations are at the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them for battle, which basically what I'm trying to, I think that Gog and Magog don't even exist because these are quote unquote type of nations that are after Christ is coming and he rules over the earth and brings every nation into one nation in a sense. He rules them all. So their numbers are like the sand of the sea. So now we've had multiplication of people again because remember, almost 2/3 of the world's population is killed in the judgments that happened in the prior chapters. So here Satan released, deceives these, and they march over the broad plain of the earth. You can't get any more literal than that. Broad plain of what? The earth. It's just kind of ridiculous to think that there's anything spiritual about that. And so they surrounded the camp of the saints, the beloved city, which we know is not 70 AD. It's impossible for 70 AD to be the camp of the saints since the saints fled Jerusalem and fled to Pella. So they gather around. They're going to try and lay siege or something to it, right? No, Fire comes down from heaven and consumed them. Now, this is all of the ungodly. I'm saying this whole earth is completely consumed. Of everybody. All the righteous are gathered together. They have been resurrected. How should you describe it? They don't get burnt up. It's the ungodly who get burnt up. It's 2 Peter. They will be consumed by fire this time and not the flood. So, the devil who deceived them, he was thrown into the lake of fire where the beast and the false prophet, and they will be tormented day and night. In other words, they will be suffered the judgment of separation. No hope, no possibility of parole, nothing like that. They're done. They're there for all of eternity. So now, if the earth is burnt up, and we're not talking about being destroyed, so there's nothing left of the earth that it becomes, an ash and stuff. In the same way Peter talked about, in the same way the floods destroyed the earth back there in Noah's day, so fire destroys all of the earth in this day. It is going to be a transforming. Fire, of course, we know purges, cleans out the old stuff, and brings in some new life, right? So I saw a great white throne, and him was seated on it. So this is now in heaven. From his presence, earth and sky fled away. So forget the earth, forget all of that. That's not in the picture. And no place was found for them. Now, we're not talking about them being destroyed, of course, but that's just imagery of them not. This is taking place in heaven. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and the books were open. So now, if the dead are standing before him, and there's no one else around except for these people, everybody who's ever lived, all the ungodly dead, everybody who's lived on earth have died. This is now the second resurrection, where all of those that were in Hades. And so, yes, we claim that Hades is still existing. It's still there. That is where the unjust goes until this day of judgment. So, all of these people, everybody, all of a sudden, at one moment, the dead, everybody who has ever died, resurrected, all of those, everybody from Adam on down to last, from the first to the last, they're all standing before the throne, and the books were open. Okay, so let's go back first of all. This comes from Daniel 7. Hey, come on, hurry. All right. As I looked, thrones were placed, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was as white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was fiery flames, and its wheels burning with fire. A steam of fire issued and came out from before. And thousands served him, angels, and 10,000 times 7 stood before him. The court sat in judgment, and the books were opened. Okay? The dead and all stand before the throne. The books were opened, which is the book of life. Okay, the book of life then has what? Everybody who is foreordained, whatever you call them, elected, every Christian, I'm saying, was listed in this book. Anybody who would ever be a Christian is going to be written in the book of life. So what happened? The dead, all the people, were judged by what was written in the books according to what they had done. So, of course, Christians, what have they done? They trusted in Christ. Those who did not, here's their evil deeds. They have to pay for it. So, it goes back to who are the dead? Well, the sea gave up the dead. Well, okay, what sea dead? Well, those are the dead always kind of refers to the dead body, the person who's dead, their body. So the sea gave up the dead. So that's all the people who have ever died that are in the sea, in the oceans. They're gone. They're up. Boom. They've been resurrected. Those people, those bodies come out. Death, that would be the graves also, where all the bodies are in their graves. They come out. And then Hades gave up the dead who were in them. Hades is where the spirits, so the dead bodies resurrected. So all of them are resurrected for judgment, unjust and the just, in the same type of resurrection. And they were judged, each one of them, according to what they had done. Not will do. Now, what I'm pointing out here is the greatest lie of full preterism. And I want to show this to you. We can do this from Hebrews 9:27. Just as people are destined to die once, and after that to face judgment. You have to face judgment. There is no second chance. There's no way to... Okay, the judgment is permanent. If I give you a sentence of eternity in hell, then your sentence is eternity in hell. Will that sentence ever end? No, because it's eternity in hell. Or I should say the lake of fire. Never quits, never ends. That's the judgment. That is the price to pay for being rejecting God. 2 Corinthians 5:10. Paul again says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad." Isn't that what Revelation says? According to what they have done. According to what they have done. So everybody's going to stand before it. Now, this idea that the judgment took place in 70 AD, even Russell rejected it because it doesn't work, folks. It does not work. Because it specifically, here you got 3 different verses that say that everybody who has ever lived will stand before the throne and have to be judged according to what they did. Now, the righteous, how are they judged? They're judged, okay, first of all, you come before the throne. Is his name written in the book of life? You bet, man. Here it is, page 432, line 7, paragraph 5. Boom, there's your name. It's written in there. And what does it say about your deeds? You what? are the righteousness of Christ. He has applied his death to your count, so there are no sins listed. There is nothing there. And God will say, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter now into the joy of your Lord and receive your crown of life. So there is no sense that the Christians, of course, are going to get judged in the sense of, oh, your works are going to be burnt up and then you're going to go to hell if you don't measure up or something stupid like that. It's one of the reasons why I reject the idea of the Catholic idea of purgatory and such. Sorry, he died for all of our sins. He's faithful and just to forgive us of all of our sin. So, in God's judgment and his sense of justice, it always demands that when somebody does something wrong, they stand in his presence and give an account for what they have done or not done. They have to give. Nobody is going to be judged in absentia. Nobody living today was judged in AD 70. Why? We must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ. The full preterist wants to tell you that we proleptically or somehow or another got judged in AD 70. But you cannot get judged for the things you have not done. You can't give an account of yourself if you're not standing before him after the things that you have done. So everything that the full preterist argues about for the great white throne judgment, I'm sorry, there could be nothing worse in their theology than to claim that it happened in 70 AD. It's impossible, folks. It's just absolutely impossible because of what Paul says here. See, you take the time statement and say we don't pay attention to the time statement. But here, 2 verses. We must all appear before the judgment of Christ. Just as people are destined to die once, after that, they face judgment. Judgment is always after you lived. And then Revelation 19, the dead and small, this means everybody who's ever lived is going to stand before that throne and they will get judged. How it's done, I don't know. How long we stand before, silly questions. That's not what we're trying to address. What he's addressing is that you're all going to be standing before him and judged according to what you have done. Now, if everybody's come out of Hades and the grave, then what does that mean? Everybody's been resurrected. That means then there is no more death. There is no more grave. There is nobody else who has been living on earth. There's nobody there that is, otherwise, after they die, they too have to face judgment. Well, this is the final judgment. And the argument is, and this is what Sam has put forth, and I still, to this day, have never seen a full preterist grasp this, understand it, and if they did, they would leave full preterism in a heartbeat. Your name is written in a book. That book has a last page. It is last name. It is finite. It is not an open-ended book. Why is that? Because God wrote before the foundations of the earth, he put every Christian's name, everybody who is going to be of the faithful, the righteous, or whatever. He knew them before they were even born or created. He wrote their names in the book of life. That was written there. If he knows every name of every person and he's listed there, which he does, this means that he is omniscient. He knows all things. There is nothing that he does not know. So that means this book is of every Christian. A book has a last page, last name. It's a finite number of people. He cannot add names to the book because that would suggest he did not know them. Nor can the book be infinitive. It means it cannot go on forever. It's closed. It's a certain list. No names can be added on there because that would imply that Christ did not know them and had to add their name afterwards. And that is simply ridiculous. So, death and Hades were thrown in the lake of fire. Death is no more. Hades is no more. There's no more place for the wicked. There's no more wicked being born and living. They're done. It's all over with. All people have separated. And this is where Again, the full preterists have no concept of this idea. Um, I don't even know if they had it when they were quote unquote futurists. But that ends. Um, Physical death comes to its end. There's no more physical death. Either you were resurrected righteous, now you're living with God forever and ever and ever. Um, and you cannot die again once you've been resurrected in that glory. The unjust are in the lake of fire, the second death. Now, this death is eternal. It is a state of dying for all of eternity. There's not life there, it's death. There is no hope. There's no glimmer of light. There's nothing. It is emptiness and a place without God in your life. There's no life. There's no nothing. And in that state is where terrible place. But think about it. People. That's why God is so insistent. Why God has done everything He can to save people, because this place is so horrible and going to be so horrible. Um, Imagine it's a place where, yeah, okay, say it really literally is a place of fire. What would it feel like to be thrown into a lake of fire and that burning up, and you never die? You just continue to burn and burn. That's how horrible this place is. And God has done everything He could to prevent it from it. But if you're going to go there, you did it because you chose to reject Him. Nobody goes to heaven that was not meant to or is forced to go, and no one goes to hell because they didn't choose to. No, He doesn't force anybody to go to hell. He doesn't force them. It's your choice. It has always been your choice. So if anybody's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire, where the beast and the false prophet are, where Satan is at, and the fallen angels. All of it. That's where they're all at. Eternal judgment. So if your name was not written in the book, that is how all people are judged. Your name in the book? Yes, sir. No, it's not. Oh, no. Well, then, give an account of your life. Why did you do what you did? Well, I forget the excuses, because God can play back anything He wants. Hey, see, I tried to tell you here when you were 12. I tried to reach you when you were 24. I tried to reach you when you were 32. I tried to reach you at 40, 50, 67. You rejected everything all of your life. In fact, you mocked me and everything about me all of your life. Okay, well, that was your choice. Here's the judgment, lake of fire. No, I don't want to go. Too bad, folks. I'm sorry. That's terrible. And I'm not laughing and mocking it. But in one sense of, what more do you need? I mean, every other corner in America, of every city, there are churches. Everybody knows the cuss words, Jesus Christ. Everybody knows GD. They all know it. And at some point in their lives, they have to deal with it. Does He exist or doesn't He exist? And God does everything He can, and they still reject Him. So, how can you reject somebody? I mean, the idea is that somebody died for you in your place. You're getting ready to hit by a train. He pushes you out of the way, and he dies instead. And you turn around and look at the dead body down on the ground, and you really going to go, well, too bad, you're bad luck. Shouldn't have been so stupid, and then walk away? And no, that's exactly sometimes how we think about sinners who reject Christ and His love for them. So this is it. That's it. So the great white throne judgment is called that because it is the final judgment of all men. All men will stand before Him. Easy, isn't it? Did it happen AD 70? There is no freaking way that could have happened in 70 AD. Because I'm still alive. I'm still got deeds. And people are living today, and we all will stand before the judgment seat and get judged for what we have done. There's no escaping that. There's no way that any preterist can sit there and tell me that God judged me, him, and whoever else back in AD 70. Based on those two scriptures, Hebrews 9:27 and 2 Corinthians 5:10. For we must all stand before Christ to be judged. We will each receive whatever we deserve for the good or evil we've done in the earth's body, in this earthly body. For we must all before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil, good or bad. We must all appear. Sorry, you cannot justify that any other way. You cannot twist that any other way that is anywhere close. So take notice, full preterists. This is one of the major reasons why full preterism is a complete failure. Okay, thanks, guys. 20 minutes. Short and sweet, wasn't it? We will come back again with the new heavens and the new earth. Thank you. Bye.